Welcome to the Armani Talks YouTube channel. I'm your host, Armani Talks, and in this channel, we're deconstructing communication skills down to the nitty-gritty details. Whether you're trying to dominate your next speech, become more charismatic in social interactions, or if you just want to develop your writing skills to build a global brand. Whatever it is, communications related, we got you covered in the Armani Talks YouTube channel. If you're new, welcome, and make sure you subscribe right on below for 3 weekly videos. In today's episode, I'm going to be deconstructing a social character known as the narcissist. The narcissist is a character that sends tingles down our spine. When we hear it, a part of us hopes that we never fall into this label, and other times we can automatically spot a few individuals who we consider narcissistic. But do we understand the definition of narcissist? When I tried Googling this a while back, I noticed that I was presented with a lot of different definitions, a lot of flowery language. And whenever the language gets too flowery, I notice that we're straying away from the fundamentals. So I still bared with all these definitions. I read different ones to a point where I was able to extract the core fundamental. And the core fundamental of narcissism, you ready? It stems from an inflated self-worth. Yep, that's all it comes down to, an inflated self-worth. And oftentimes, when we think of narcissistic personality disorder or someone who's extremely thinking that they're the shit, they're all the way high and mighty, we only picture someone that is condescending. But there's also a flip side to all of this as well. Not only are these individuals condescending at times, in other occasions, this individual can be anxious. They can have low self-worth due to the irony of having high self-worth. Do you know someone like that? Someone who's always worrying about going to an event thinking, well, I gotta dress up extremely well because all eyes are going to be on me. And you're thinking, why the hell would all eyes be on you? Who the hell are you? Are you some kind of celebrity? Can you fly? The guy says, no. Then why the hell would all eyes be on you? Their high sense of self-worth is also creating their low sense of self-worth as well. The narcissistic individual is sort of like water. What do I mean by this? Well, with water, it would be limited to say that water is just something that we drink. Sure, it's something that we drink, but there's other uses as well. We can also use water to clean. We could also use water to spin the turbine which generates electricity. Water remains the same, but how it manifests is different. It's the same case with narcissism. When we think it's just a person that's being condescending, high and mighty, then we miss the other opportunities where a narcissistic effect is taking place. Sort of like the example that I just gave with the person who has social anxiety. What you need to understand is that when this form of high self-importance is taking different forms in itself, you need to have nuance in your social understanding. That's what social intelligence comes down to. We have nuance within the labels. Sometimes individuals are just like, oh, well, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry. And that right there is a command for your mind. But is that a nuanced command? No, because at times we'll recognize that we can feel happy and a little bit of sadness as well. We could feel anxious and hopeful. We could feel nervous and extremely ecstatic. So once we understand that emotions have nuances, we realize that we don't need to be so blanket with our acts. It's the same thing in the social intelligence world. Just calling someone a narcissist and leaving it at that prevents you from learning much needed lessons. Which is why in this episode, I want you to understand the intent when evaluating a narcissist. And you have to understand that at times, these individuals with high self-worth, their actions seem the same, but their intent is completely different. And just to give you an example, when I was in undergrad, I had two friends. One's name was Sam, and the other's name was Paul. Now, Sam and Paul, externally, they acted virtually the same. Sam and Paul, whenever I was talking to them, whenever it was my turn to talk, their eyes were just like, all over the place. But when it was their time to talk, they were in the zone. They got this little tingle in their spine. They felt good. They felt energetic. And a part of me started to wonder, are these two individuals narcissistic? I mean, what's up with them? Why are they always so ready to speak for themselves, but when it's time to listen, they just don't do it? And I was starting to categorize both of them in the same exact boat. But as time went on by, I realized that Sam and Paul were not the same. Sam couldn't listen. He was one of those guys that just wouldn't listen. His mind was always in La La Land. But if you took the time to know Sam, you would know that he was a good-hearted individual. Anytime you needed to be dropped off into, like, say, the airport, he would drive you for free. Anytime that you would have a win in your life, and he took the time to listen, he would congratulate you. He would take you out for lunch. He would do his best in order to make sure you felt like a winner. So in that case, Sam was someone with a good intent. But Paul, not only did he not listen, he had a different aura about him. My social energy with him felt drained. And he was one of those individuals, when you would win, he would try to be like, yeah, but others could do that too. If you needed any sort of favor, he would be like, well, how much are you charging me? And when it was his time to talk, this man would talk and talk and talk. This guy, I don't consider him someone with a good heart. Well, as you can tell that Sam and Paul had similar behaviors, similar actions, but their intent was different. This one had a pure intent with an uncontrolled mind. This one had a malicious intent with an uncontrolled mind. And the end result, it seems similar. Both of them have an inflated sense of importance, but the difference is the level of intent. That's what you want to understand. Because at times, we'll realize that this person is being annoying. Anytime that you get near individuals that are just having narcissistic personality traits, it drains you. But before you start evaluating them too much, the first thing you want to do is to analyze their intent. What kind of intent is it? It's not something that you can logic with too much. It's something that you're able to build a judgment for as time and experience catches up with you. And in order to understand how to read intent, it's going to require a whole lot of heartache in the middle of it. This isn't something that you're going to be learning in school, reading in a book. It's just judgment that develops after a whole bunch of social experience. Now from there, once you've just gotten a general feel for the intent, what are the next traits that you should be aware of? What kind of personality traits do narcissists display? Well, there's too many to count. Number one, what you'll notice is at times they're not able to handle criticism. In their world, they are the king or the queen, and they don't think that they can do anything wrong. So when someone does criticize them, it affects them more. Another thing that they can do is they will just up their importance to a high level. And this is where it separates the Sams and the Pauls. The Sams will most likely inflate their reputation, while the Pauls, the guys with the bad intent, will inflate their reputations and deflate the reputation of someone else. Well, that wasn't that big. Anyone could do that. But me, what I did was blah, blah, blah. So that's another thing that they can do. Another thing that narcissists can do is the gaslight effect. I made a video about this recently. It's a couple of videos back if you search on my YouTube channel. But the gaslight effect is when people are leading you one way, then they make a certain change towards a new twist. So you need to watch out for the gaslight effect. And there's many more different traits that I can go on about, but these are traits that you're probably already resonating with, especially individuals that were narcissistic that you know. I know up until this point in your life, you've met at least 1 to 3 narcissists. And as you're watching this video, those 3 people are just radiating left and right. Which brings me to the next point. Do narcissists know they're narcissists? I don't think so. Some may, but that's the minority. Majority of the people have no clue. They think they're just living their life. They're just doing what they're doing. And what they lack is awareness. Narcissism and awareness often can't exist together because narcissism is defined by an inflated self-worth, which means an enlarged ego, while awareness means a bigger perspective of everything around you. And in order to get that bigger perspective of everything around you, you need to tame your ego. You need to understand that you are simply a pixel in the picture rather than the picture as a whole. To go from the narcissistic to the aware side, it's not an easy journey. There's many individuals, and it could be you yourself, that at a certain point were highly narcissistic. But as they started to grow up, they started to have to make the transition from being highly narcissistic to aware. That's why one of the worst things that you can do to people is to coddle them, is to baby them. Because when you baby them, you make them think that, all right, what you're doing is right. That's not the way to carry the poor behavior. You don't reward bad behavior with treats. Then your responses are incorrect. You're not being one of those individuals that's being socially intelligent. One of the major things that I tell you to do with haters is to either learn from them or ignore them. At times you could do both, but if you just keep battling haters back and forth, what you start realizing is that these individuals are highly narcissistic. In their world, they're thinking, well, I don't like this, so you need to make me understand why I should like you. Isn't that extremely narcissistic? But when you understand that, you understand how the psychology of a hater works. And when you take away the attention, that's when these haters or any narcissist starts to feel threatened. They try to level up their attacks, or they feel as though their world is shaking beneath their feet. But this is all that's needed to translate them from the narcissistic world into the world of awareness. You don't reward bad behavior with rewards. You just don't do it. It feels good, but that's what I call foolish empathy. I'll make a video about that down the line. Truly socially intelligent people have what I call tactical empathy. They know when to empathize, but they know when to show tough love as well. Trying to show everyone the same amount of respect is what I call being socially stiff. You want to be socially dynamic, and that's what we cover in this channel. All in all, a narcissist is someone with an inflated self-worth, and the main thing that you'll realize is that their inflated self-worth will take up different forms. Sometimes they'll be on their high horse, other times they'll be extremely anxious. Their inflated self-worth is making them devalue themselves, whether they're aware or not. Other times, these narcissists will hang with other narcissists and they'll collide back and forth. They'll start drama with one another. All in all, don't be fooled by the external sides. Look at the core root. Do these people have an inflated self-worth? From there, the next thing you just gotta do is get a general feel for their intent. There's going to be times where the behaviors of two people seem identical, but one is making a mistake, the other is making malice. All right, they're leading with malice, and malice is what I call evil. Their intent is wrong. The guy that's making a mistake is just unaware. They don't know any better. So it's up to you, the socially intelligent superstar, to be able to spot these sort of things. And the only way that you're going to be able to read intent at times is through hardships. No one has articles, books, blogs on this. That's what Street Smarts is all about. We learn through trial and error. From there, you just want to use the narcissist to understand human psychology on a deeper level. Don't be going back and forth with them. Either let them be aware of their errors or just ignore them. Ignoring seems like the weak thing to do, but ignoring takes a lot of self-restraint. It showcases emotional intelligence. It showcases that you're someone that is not only emotionally intelligent, not only socially intelligent, but mature. Maturity takes time. But the more mature you are, the more that you start to tame the ego. And the more tamed your ego is, the more perspective that you have. You realize how the entire picture plays on out, and that's when your communication skills starts to skyrocket. No one likes to hear a communicator that only speaks from their lens. They like to hear communicators that knows how to acknowledge their lens, but be aware of the entire scenery as well. You can become a great communicator as well, but the only way that's going to happen is when you start to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly of the social skills world. Hopefully you know a little bit more about the narcissist today. And if you want more practical insights into the world of social skills, make sure you check out my book, The Charisma King, in the description box right on below. The Charisma King tackles practical tips on how you can work on your internal world, how you can avoid social sins, and how you can unlock your inner charisma so you can showcase your personality with the utmost authenticity. Thank you for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.